So in one of the streams that came out recently for Wilds, it looks like they showed off decorations. So it looks like there's going to be RNG decorations making a return in some form or fashion. And even though it's still sort of speculation, we're not totally sure if it's 100% just like how World was. There still was a lot of talk about RNG decorations, if they should come back, if they should be a product of World, if moving forward adopting Rise's form of RNG. And I just kind of wanted to go over some things that I found that people said either online on forum posts or on like Twitter accounts. Sorry, Twitter, X now, formerly known as Twitter, my bad. And I just kind of wanted to point out some things that I thought that I agreed with and some things that I disagreed with. For example, I know that popular Monster Hunter YouTuber Rubicon had kind of posted a poll, kind of wanted to see where people lied on this debate. And it looked pretty, even for the most part. But I was kind of just going through the comments and trying to see what people were saying about this topic, and I found some things that were interesting and some things that were completely brain dead takes, but that's to be expected from coming from a website such as this. So anyways, for starters, I just want to say where I lie on this, where my opinion is on this matter. Personally, I prefer the RNG talisman or the RNG charms over the RNG decorations of World. I feel like charms don't restrict your build as much as if it were the decorations. I feel like the decorations kind of mold your build, whereas the charms are kind of an added extra. And I also feel that it's easier to achieve a quote-unquote meta build, right? If you want to go that route. And even if you're not going to go meta, even if you want to just have like a specific build, I feel like it's easier to target that build if you land a pretty decent charm, compared to how World did it, where the skills that you wanted were heavily dependent on how lucky you were for those skills to drop. And when I say that, I'm not entirely just talking about like meta skills. I guess meta being the choice word there. I'm not just talking about skills like the quintessential trinity of weakness exploit, crit boost, and crit eye. I'm talking about like just skills in general. So for example, this is like an anecdotal experience. In my base playthrough of World, I wanted to try out Lance. I was unlucky. I didn't get any guard skills, nor did I get guard up. Guard up being the main skill that I was after. So throughout the playthrough, I wanted to play Lance. I had to rely on the charm that I could craft that gave me guard, and then I had to wear the Uragan set for the guard up. And that was how I played for whenever I wanted to try Lance. And crazy enough, I never did get a guard up until Iceborne, and not even on my original account. My original account was on PlayStation, and then when I moved on to PC, that I was more lucky, and I was able to get guard up to drop. I felt like I was restricted in what I could play. Now, also, I'm gonna be upfront. I hate RNG in pretty much all its forms. But Monster Hunter is just that kind of game. Honestly, when it comes to the RNG aspect of both of these games, I personally think they both suck. I really don't enjoy either of them. Anyways, with all that aside, I kind of just wanted to go over points for RNG decorations and points against RNG decorations, and then also points for charms and then points against RNG charms. So, points against World's RNG decorations. Really, the only way to farm these decorations is through tempered Elder Dragon quests and event quests. Some of these quests are locked behind Master Rank 100. So that in itself, to even try to attempt to get some good decorations, you gotta grind your rank to unlock these quests. Which is funny because you can go straight to fighting Fatalis like right out the gate after beating the main story. And also, even after unlocking these quests and farming, unless you were born the luckiest guy on the planet, you're most likely not going to get what you want. Some of these like important skills for builds are locked behind those decorations. RIP to anyone that wants to build a bow. Now with that being said though, some of these core skills, these important skills, right, that you want, these important decorations, are now craftable. So you can go to the melder and you can make them now. So now you can get your mighty bow plus, or you can get your guard up. You don't got to worry about that. It was a different case back then, but now they kind of fixed that problem. Also, there's so many different avenues now to be able to craft and meld the decorations. So for example, there's melding tickets from events. You can get them from the Steamworks. There's a bigger variety of quests for farming the decorations themselves. So for example, there's one for Tempered Teostra if you want to fight him. But let's say maybe you don't feel like fighting Teostra. Okay, well there's another quest that lets you fight Kushala. And if you hate yourself, you can go fight Tempered Lunastra. And lastly, they just gave us a free attack up and crit I4 just by logging into the game. Although now thinking about it, I'm not entirely sure if you can still redeem those. I don't really know. But yeah, they just gave them to us. So even if you were like super unlucky and never got an attack up like I am, they just gave them to you. So I mean, that was that. I guess in the grand scheme of things, that's kind of a plus. Now we move on to Rise. The way that Rise handles their decorations is like in the older games. If you wanted to get a decoration, all you have to do is beat the monster that unlocks the requirement, and then you're able to craft as many as you want. And then in turn, having the charms be RNG based with random decoration slots assigned to them. The fact that decorations are craftable relieves so much of the headache of having to go after the specific skills you want to add on your build. If I want attack boost, it's there. I can get it. If I want crit boost, it's there. I can get it. Also, if I want a specific skill on the charm, the melding option allows me to snipe for a specific skill so that it can drop on the charm. Like how I mentioned before, I feel like builds benefit from having this style of RNG by having the decorations that I need and a charm that maybe I don't necessarily need the skill on the charm, but the decorations are able to fill in the gaps for me. So maybe I have a charm that doesn't have a skill that I really care about, like speed sharpening or quick sheath, but it has 3 decoration slots. That's 3 points of a skill that I can add on to my build that I didn't have access to before. And in Rise, they take that even further when it comes to the curios crafting. And that itself unlocks another aspect of build freedom and build diversity by allowing you to craft for either better decoration slots if you need them, or if you want, you can try to aim for some better skills. Now, some points against Rise, the melding kind of sucks. Since the game dropped, there's only really one way of getting charms, and that's through the melding. They never really added like an event quest that drops charms or something like that. So it's not really that engaging. Also, if you're going for the curios route, which is probably like the strongest way of charm farming in the end game, anomaly quests take forever to get done. Also, when it comes to the decoration crafting, all the really good skills are locked behind anomaly level like 200 plus something. So regardless, it's gonna be like a long grind for everything. Like I mentioned already, I kind of hate the RNG aspects when it comes to these games, but I know coming into Monster Hunter, I already know it's that type of game. There's gonna be an element of grinding, there's gonna be an element of RNG. That's just the way the game is. That's the way it's always been. But if I had to choose between the two evils, I would definitely go with RNG charms. I personally believe it lets you have an easier time making builds. So I don't really like calling this a debate. I think this is something you can't really debate. You can't really debate somebody's luck. And that's pretty much what this whole thing falls down to. It's all anecdotal. And what I mean by that is it's a bunch of, in my opinions, I feel like, in my experience, this happened to me, that happened to someone I knew. It's It's all opinionated because there's no way that someone is going to have the same experience with the RNG than someone else. Everyone is interacting with the randomness of both of these systems differently, and everyone is going to have a very, very different experience. All it comes down to is pretty much how your experience was with the system that is in place. And personally, I felt like it was easier to be unlucky in Rise than it was to be unlucky in World. Anyways, that's pretty much all I gotta say about the topic. Like I said, I prefer the charms. Maybe you prefer the RNG decorations. Maybe you had a better time with it than I did, and that's why you like it. Anyways, if you liked the video, consider subscribing or leaving a like or comment. Anyways, see ya.